can tell you now.
Meh. Promote yourself. Respect yourself.
I put myself on the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had the live write-in post
thing for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just helps to go live.
Yeah.
Because when people realize that you will consistently go live, then they'll tune in or look for you.
Consistency is not my thing.
Yeah, I had no one my first 3 streams that I ever did. So that's life. But eventually it picks up. Let me go to the YouTube page and check.
So you're working on your 1-year novel project?
I am, yeah. Which is going to be a little bit easier, I think, because I'm not at the day job anymore.
Yeah.
But before that, it was so hard to get anything done at all.
I get that.
Your ASMR one pops up second now.
Cool.
As videos.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that surprises me so much. I just always think that it's my Jungkook, sexy and cute moments. I had made that because I was looking through YouTube and I was like, I could do better than the people that had originally posted some. And then I did one for Chelsea, which was a gift because she was not feeling very well. And I did one for Yu-Yam to House of Cards.
Oh my.
And it was all in black and white. And every time the beat went down, it would go to a black screen. Can you see the kitten?
Oh my goodness! Look at that. She's so cute.
I think it's a he.
Oh,
I don't really know. Because kittens, you just can't tell.
Right, yeah. Their sex will change up until about 8 to 10 weeks, so. Or at least it can.
Yeah, we already have 5 cats, but I really want to keep it.
He's cute.
I think we're going to name it Indigo or Wesley.
Aww. Oh, Wesley.
From the Princess.
I was about to say Wesley. As you wish.
Because we have a cat named Butternut, and we found him under the house as well. But when we first found him, we completely thought that he was a girl. So we named him Buttercup.
Oh.
And then
okay, that's funny.
Walking in front of us one day, and we were like, "Oh,
those
it is."
Those are. That's not a cup.
No, it is not,
sir.
So
control yourself. That's funny.
Because we have Butternut, Callie, Tiger, Cookie, Grace, and then we have a dog named Wilson, who currently stays with my brother. That is what that is from.
Thank you. So proud of myself.
You got the Princess Bride reference too.
Listen, media is my life, so that's all I ever do. If you have any questions about media or social or otherwise, I probably know the answer. I don't know if I should be proud of that. Probably
I can
not.
answer really weird geography questions.
Really? That's interesting.
I work for AAA.
Okay.
For the roadside assistance. And most people don't know this, but I live in Maine, but I cover California.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I used to work in logistics, so our clients were over here and we were over here.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
I mean, I can cover Maine, but we're so small that our calls just kind of slip through the cracks. You might get one a month for the state that you live in.
Oh, well, you know.
So I'd say like 95% of our call volume is strictly California, but we have 25 states that we cover.
Okay.
So, and we only cover half of California. We cover the southern half that has like San Diego, Los Angeles. We don't cover San Francisco. That's
right. That's technically NoCal. So
yeah. Do you want to jump into our first sprint of the day?
Sure. I would love to do that.
Do you want to do a 10-minute warm-up or a 15?
We can jump straight into 15 if you would like to do that.
Sure.
All right. I will probably turn my camera off so that I can eat and not look like a demon.
Okay, listen, I won't judge.
A literal goblin. That's me.
Literal goblin. Yes.
Literal goblin.
Queen. Okay, ready, set, and go. You did that.
You did that. Hello, hello.
How did you do?
You know, I finished lunch. I started and finished lunch and got an additional 200 words. So I feel like that's pretty good if you're trying to multitask.
Yes, it is. When I'm eating, all I can do is think I can't also type.
I'm over here that's why I turned my camera off, because it was a mess. I was just and typing at the same time.
Yeah,
crazy chicken pecking.
Oh, I hate the people that type with just the two fingers.
Just the two fingers? Oh my god. I'm I may have not done well in my typing class.
Oh yeah, no.
In the school sector. Sure. But I also at least keep all of my fingers on the keyboard. I don't
get how people can't rest their hands on their desk or on their laptop while they're writing. I don't know how you can have your hands
suspended like this.
Yeah.
That just makes my wrists hurt. Exactly. I'm just ow!
I don't have the muscles for that. And it's usually people that are quite skinny that do it.
Uh-huh. I'm nope. No. Look, I work out. I go to I used to, because
quarantine.
That thing that shall not be named has kept me in the house and kept me out of the boxing ring. Honestly, this thing should just be scared, because all of this pent-up aggression that I've got going on, I just want to get back in the ring, man. But yeah, I work out, so I know I've got the muscle to do it, but it still is
just thinking about it makes my wrist hurts.
Yeah, it's why would I just let my wrists flop in the wind?
I even will play with my mouse sometimes on my MacBook, because my wrists sit on it, because on the newest MacBook Pro, the mouse pad, the trackpad is so huge.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Jesus.
It's gigantic. So it's an inch and a half bigger than the space bar.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's an inch and a half longer than the space bar, and then it's probably the length of the space bar down.
Jesus.
It's huge.
How do you not make selections all the time?
So the trackpad is supposed to have this thing selective clicking.
Okay.
So if your hand is in the top corners, it's not supposed to register.
Okay.
But that doesn't always work.
I was about to say, how does that work, though, in practice? How does that function?
I'm getting used to it now, but my thumb used to graze the trackpad all the time when going up to hit the space bar.
Love that.
So I would end up probably 3 paragraphs higher in my text.
Great.
And just start typing, and I wouldn't notice, because I don't look at my screen or my keyboard when I'm typing. I will look at a secondary screen, or I'll be looking at my wall. I'm not really looking.
Well, yeah. If you have the keys memorized that well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just writing all over the place. Speaking of writing, I printed out the thing you sent me, and I just want to point out that it ends on page 69.
I've had 2 people comment on that already.
It's my favorite thing.
So in the Word document that I converted to the PDF file, it has 70 pages.
Yeah, because of your title page. But there are 69 pages of text. Nice. When it was printing out, I saw the last page come out, and I looked and I went, nice.
With my second draft, I went from 25,000 words to almost 35,000 words.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a novella. I was well, is this still considered?
Yeah, it's like, it's still like right within the boundaries of it. Yeah.
Because do you remember me asking that in one of the live streams? Like, how long do you guys consider a novella? Because I was feeling like it was getting a tad too long.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like everything is needed, but that's what the betas are for.
Yeah. Once it pushes past like 40,000 words, then you're like, you might as well just add that other 10 and call it a novel.
I don't think I could get another 15,000 words out of that, though.
Yeah, I'm excited to read more of it. I skimmed it last night because I like to do that to see if there are any like overarching things that I can be like, weird, and then just mark it. But I'm starting my in-depth read through of it.
Nice.
Today, so
I sent it to four people.
That's a good selection.
So you're my only writer friend that is looking at it.
Okay.
Everyone else are like pure readers.
Right. Which is nice. That's nice to have. Like,
I wanted at least one writer's perspective for actual story structure. And then I wanted readers to be like, okay, this is actually interesting, or you need to cut that out.
Right, like, ugh, not this again.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for some fun little tropes in here, so we'll see.
I'm trying to think of the ones that I like actively tried to do.
Ooh.
Because every now and then you want to like actually make a trope because that sometimes makes it interesting. I guess the main girl kind of has like girl next door vibes.
Okay, we love that. We love a girl next door.
She's also like kind of mean at the beginning of the story.
Okay.
So she's mean girl next door.
Interesting. I like that.
And my main worry was that people wouldn't like the two main characters because it's more of a redemption arc in my head for the two of them. Like, you're supposed to like them at the end, but I'm not sure if I wanted you to like them at the beginning.
Oh, so you're going for like the Emma perspective, where Emma was written by Jane Austen not to be liked. She was like, I want to write somebody that people do not like. And then at the end, you're like, I understand her. I relate to her.
I've never read Emma. That was not a required reading back in high school.
It wasn't required reading for me either. I'm just a big nerd.
I mean, can you see my bookshelf? It's huge. Like, I'm really interested in books, but all of those top two shelves are YA contemporaries from the past 20 years.
Oh, nice. I don't buy that many books anymore. I go to the library as much as possible now because I have all of my books right now condensed to one shelf, like my recreational books condensed to one shelf.
Yeah.
And then obviously I have these here because decor and aesthetic. But
my aesthetic isn't great, but what you gonna do? This is my work desk.
Listen, mine was not great either. And then the other day I was like, I do live streams every single Monday. People are looking at a blank white wall. Let's not feel like we're in prison. Instead, I'm like, let's add some creepy stuff in the background.
My light is yellow. And plus, so we have a webcam for work in case we have to do like a coaching session. So I haven't needed to use it, but I don't want to have a bunch of stuff on my walls in case I ever have to.
Right, absolutely.
And my bookshelf, people at work know that I'm a nerd. Like, that's understandable. Yeah. But I had a towel over that window because it's just like so bright.
I thought it was a light. I thought it was a light. Well, It is bright then. It is very bright.
Yeah, so that's a window. So is that one. If you couldn't tell by the fact that an AC is hanging
It's
out.
actually pretty cool. Like the octagonal window with the light coming through, it looks cool. I will say that.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, she's got cool lighting.
I had a towel over it because I'm a freaking vampire. And I hate too much light in my room. And my TV is right here. So the sunlight from there
that's
is
annoying.
just directly on the TV.
That's annoying.
But I can't have my room a different way because I need to have my Ethernet cord coming through my door, which is right here.
That's why my desk is like stuck right here, because my cord comes back around here and into my computer. And we have it like tucked into the side carpet. So it's not like trailing, because my dog would eat it.
Oh yeah, the 5 cats that we have eaten my cord 2 times now.
Well, we love that.
I have an extension cord that runs from the kitchen into this room because my room is connected to the bathroom and part of the living room for the circuit breaker. And if I were to have my computer hooked up to that, my room would just go dark.
Wow. Dang.
Like sometimes my mom will use the hair dryer and everything just shuts off.
I was going to say something, but I don't know if it's offensive to people who live in Maine.
Go for it. I'm from Massachusetts.
Okay, I was going to say, that sounds like Maine. Like,
that's true.
It's small. It's a small state. It's an old state.
Yeah.
And most of the things in the state are also small and old. So things just crap out when they get small and old.
So if I were to stand up, I can't raise my arms up. I have to like do this to get my clothes off.
Oh my God.
Because my ceiling is only like 6'4", 6'5", and I'm 6'1".
Oh yeah, that's right. You're a tall lass.
Because I'm taller than my bookshelf.
Oh. I am not 6'1". So my short self is just like, wow, tall.
I read some of Outlander, and there's this girl named Brianna that is the daughter of Claire and Janie.
Scottish guy. Yeah.
And she's supposed to be like 6'1" and like this broad woman. So I was so looking forward to seeing that in the show. No, she's a short lass.
Oh, love that. That's great. What happened to like the tall representation? We need Brienne of Tarth in here.
Exactly. She's a tad too old to play Brianna though, because she was supposed to be like 18 at the start of the.
Well, what about the girl from Tall Girl? Right? She wears size 13 Nikes. Men's size 13.
Well, actually, I wear a size 12 men's. I could wear a size 13 if I was wearing like wool socks, which are needed up in Maine.
Yes. I mean, I live in Michigan now. I am from the South, but I live in Michigan, and oh boy, the first cold time was not a good time. I was like, where's my heat?
We got snow the second week of May.
Yeah.
Here.
So did we. Yeah. We were like, I looked outside and I was just like, no. It's like, why is this happening to me?
I hate it. Like, I hate the snow. It's pretty to look at, but shoveling it.
Like, I still don't drive in the snow. I just don't.
That's a story for the next writing break.
Oh, no. I will write that down. Why doesn't Sam drive in the snow?
Oh no, I still do because it's Maine, and you kind of have to.
Why doesn't Sam want to drive in the snow?
But we should get into another sprint.
Excellent. All right. I will remind myself of that question later.
I have some questions for you too, because I liked how you did like a
Oh.
Q&A with Camille and Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So how long do you want to sprint for?
Are you in the mood for a longer sprint, or do you want to go with the shorter one? It's up to you.
You want to do like a 20?
Yeah, sure. That sounds great.
Cool. Okay. Ready, set, and go.
Yeehaw.
You did that.
Yes.
Yes. I had to fix my camera when we first started to sprint. I was like, it's bothering me. But my room is so yellow.
It's not that bad, actually. I
liked in OBS how you could change the
that was
scale.
super nice.
Yeah.
It doesn't look bad, though.
Because I prefer cooler tones video feed wise, but I prefer warmer tones in like a photograph.
Same, yeah. In my little filming corner that I have over there, I'm trying to figure out how to make the video quality less yellow because I cannot stand it. It looks like I dipped my video in tea, and I'm just like, no.
Well,
I like to look more akin to the dead than that. Than like a used cigarette wrapper. Like,
well, for one thing, I have a ring light on this webcam. It's the Razer Kiyo. But it's like blinding.
Yeah.
I can't look into the webcam if I have the ring light on. But I have a really big ring light that I use for videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I turn this light off.
Oh.
And I got that ring light for like $70 on Amazon.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
And I actually used gift cards from Christmas to buy it. So I didn't actually pay for it. Get that stuff for free.
Or as close to it as possible.
So driving.
How did you do on that? How did you do on that sprint?
Let's see. I'm reading over the first 2 chapters of my paranormal book. Because I was reading a lot of people's like takes on what not to do in your first chapter. And I was like,
okay,
I don't necessarily hit those things, but I understand like where my story is leaning towards them. Like I'm not doing a checklist.
What shouldn't you do in your first chapter?
So you're not supposed to have a checklist of things to do. So you're not supposed to get out of bed, brush your teeth, go take a shower, leave the house, lock your door, get in the car. Like you're not supposed to have a checklist of things that you're supposed to do with your character, which I wasn't doing that. My first chapter was the 2 main characters are at the bar that they own together, and they're just getting set up for the day.
Right. So is the recommendation then to like begin your like start your book in media res or in the middle of the action?
Yeah. And I was like, but if you're going by Save the Cat, your inciting incident is like 5% to 10% of the way through. So how can you start on that but also have it 5 to 10% of the way through? So I confused myself a lot, and I ended up like fluffing up the first chapter because I just didn't know what I was doing. But originally it was at first in the here and now, and then the main character takes you back 7 years to when she first came to this town and she met the family that is going to be like the main plot points throughout the entire thing.
Okay.
So I was like, I need that information, but do I necessarily need it in the first chapter when you don't care about anyone yet?
Right.
So I'm
sort of like rearranging how things are presented.
So I'm trying to figure out how to put the flashback stuff further into the book. Because whenever I think of flashbacks, I always think that they happen like you need to know it right away. But I don't want to be holding the reader's hand through everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's always necessary to have the flashbacks right away. Sometimes it's helpful if like you open with a very clear flashback. And it doesn't always have to have like a resolution. Like the character doesn't have to like wake up from a dream of that flashback or to like suddenly snap back into whatever they were. I've seen pretty effectively a couple of like flashback scenes or flashback type scenes that are done as the complete first chapter or done as a complete chapter. I think the Mistborn trilogy, the first book, Mistborn, does that. Or something similar pretty well. It's instead of a flashback, well, it's technically a flashback, but it's not from the main character's perspective.
Okay.
So it's about an important character that the main character interacts with throughout the entire book, but it displays something that happened in the past with that other character. And you're sort of presented with the idea that that character is going to be the main character until it flips to the main character in the second chapter.
Okay.
Mistborn is by Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, so I have the book over on my shelf.
Yeah, I would read the first chapter instead of like me explaining it because it's confusing to explain, but it worked really well for that book.
I also think, since I am a new writer, it can sometimes be disorienting for the reader to go from a flashback or previous time to the now if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correctly. And I for sure know that it did not transition well between the present to flashback back to present. I know that I didn't do it well because I had someone alpha reading for me as I was doing it, and she was like, I couldn't tell when they went back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that feedback is honestly invaluable. Like, it's so important if you have somebody who's able to look at the work that you're doing and be like, you could probably tweak that a little bit. There are plenty of books that I've read that did not do that. And it was very confusing. And I couldn't tell who the heck was speaking when. It was not a good time.
I think my dialogue is like the strongest part about my writing. That's a question that I have for you and like the questions for beta readers.
Yeah, I saw it.
Natural? But
I like that you're focusing on dialogue as well, like making it sound natural. A lot of people they won't focus on dialogue as much as other elements of the writing because, dialogue is like, it's easy to perceive that as like a performance art realm. Like, dialogue is really important in screenplays. Dialogue is really important when you film a movie or when you have a play on stage. But it's so, so, so important in books too. And I think a lot of new writers can make that mistake.
Well, so for me, when I'm writing, I'm picturing a movie playing out. And a lot of writers don't do that. I'm well aware of that. But like, I have actors and actresses or just pictures of people in my head. I have storyboards on Pinterest. Like, who I want to play these characters if this was ever to be made into a movie. Like, the main character of this paranormal one that I'm writing, his name is Jesse. And I picture Daniel Sharman, if you've ever heard of him.
Let's see. What is Daniel Sharman in?
Medici, Teen Wolf.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He's 34, by the way, and he does not look 34 to me. I thought that he was like in his 20s still. And
yeah.
I mean, that's over the 10-year radius for me.
It is not for me. Yes. My old ass is so happy right now.
But I just picture him so clearly in my mind as Jesse.
Interesting. I love that. Okay. I'm looking at pictures now because I like visuals.
I love the like wavy curly hair. So I got 560 words in that sprint, by the way.
Nice. I forgot that I asked that question. I was like, wow, let's talk.
But my friend Kate and I had originally come up with this story idea in like 2015. And
Okay.
it started as a role play forum on Fiction Press.
Nice.
So I had created my main character, and she had created Jesse. And
Okay.
we were just role playing back and forth. We created like this whole family for him, this whole backstory for the town, and it was a lot. And then it just like completely dropped off in 2016.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it back in 2018, 2019, and I was like, I kind of want to pick it up again because I really like the idea of the story that we had going.
Yeah. And the characters, you probably feel a big attachment to the characters and stuff. So,
and when you role play them, you're really getting into like the nitty gritty of how they would think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's just like spur of the moment. What would they do in this situation? Mm-hmm. You're not really thinking about it. But I had to ask her permission for me to use her characters in this story, which thankfully she gave me. But at this point, I think I've changed like everything about them other than Jesse's main personality.
Yeah.
And their names. Like everyone else in the family that we had created, like they're completely different.
Yeah. But I mean that happens, and that's good, because even during like the role play or whatever sort of character building that you're doing, which, by the way, you can do character role play by yourself, and it can be very helpful. But like even during that, you really can understand like holes in their personality or personality quirks that are either over the top or aren't pushed enough, and you can really tweak and change them. So
for my character like base, when I'm first thinking of them, I'll categorize them into the Myers-Briggs and like their star sign.
Oh, interesting.
And I'll find which of the two like are compatible for the same person and work up from there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I have them written on like huge note cards. And I just flip through them. I'm like, okay, this is Jesse. That's Eve. I don't know who that could be, but that could be an interesting character.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
I'm thinking about making a video of me talking through that.
Yeah, I definitely would encourage you to do that, because it's not the method that I go with personally, and I love seeing other people's methods and other things that and things that they do that might be different, or elements that I might be able to sort of explore a different perspective from.
That was actually one of my questions for you. How do you develop your characters?
So character development is sometimes difficult depending on the genre for me. If I'm developing a character, like I have a project that's on the back burner.
Yeah.
That I'm working through right now, developing. It's going to be probably one of my most heavily like plotted, all of that stuff, novels. I plan on starting to work on it next year. And the character development that I started with from the premise, I had just a few characteristics that I wanted. And a lot of what I started with were just like power dynamics, like how I wanted the main character to feel in a room full of other people.
Okay.
And what personalities might work on her negatively or positively. And then from there, I could take those traits and build a person around them. Like if I had a character like a boyfriend or something who was domineering, and like what would cause them to break up? Like what portion of it would cause them to break up? If she's timid and he's domineering, is that enough to cause enough contention for her to be like, okay, I gotta go? Probably not, because she's timid and she wants to people please. So what element would make her leave? Okay, so he's domineering, but he's also arrogant. She can't stand that. He's domineering, arrogant, and a real mama's boy, and his mama's awful. like that might cause her to leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so from there, I've built the boyfriend and I've built the mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I can start just piecing those blocks together from there. I am mostly a discovery writer.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what I do, just like that example, is discovery. Like, oh, I have the main character and I really like this about them. And this person is introduced, and how do they fit? And then so, like I was talking about role play earlier, like I'll go through scenarios in my head of how they would interact and like different paths that they might take. Like, what if he's a really good liar and they've been together for 7 years and she's like thinking eventually they'll get married, so she's investing all of this time, and now that when he stops lying and all of that arrogance, the built up arrogance, the controlling nature, all of that stuff really are rearing their ugly head. Like, how does she get out? How does she leave? Like, after 7 years, how do you leave something like that? Like, there are tons of way that your lives are interconnected and intertwined after 7 years. So, I mean, right there you have a basis of a story. If you want to go with girl and partner have been together for 7 years and it turns out he killed a guy once. Oh, what do I do? And she's like, okay, moral conundrum. He killed a guy, which means all of that arrogance and aggression could easily be directed to me. I wonder if he's hurt anybody else. I wonder if I'm next. And then you try and run away, and you know what? Maybe it's a Nicholas Sparks novel. You never know.
See,
sounds a little bit like Safe Haven to me.
I'm kind of a Nicholas Sparks writer. Like I'm one for the like heartfelt romances.
Mm-hmm.
But you were getting into like thriller suspense, and
yeah,
just like right away.
Well, Nicholas Sparks wrote Safe Haven, which the main character in that, I don't know if you've read Safe Haven. Okay.
I honestly have only read The Notebook.
Okay. So,
and that was required reading for high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a good choice, I think.
Yeah.
Safe Haven is the premise is similar to what I just described. It's not exact, obviously, no spoilers. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but in the very beginning, you know that she's on the run, right? From an abusive ex. And so she goes to this place and, you know, it's romance. So she meets a guy and, you know, all of this sappy stuff. But in the background, there's this really thrilling, intriguing idea that's going on.
Like, will he get me today?
Yeah, exactly. Like, she changes everything about herself to get away. But her personality, her core personality trait is that she's very timid and reserved. And it's like, so what resourcefulness can you pull out of a timid personality? What is a timid person going to do to get away? They're going to run away somewhere and be really quiet.
Yeah. So I have like some of that kind of stuff in my Myers-Briggs and star sign note cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you go through that test, or if you like Google what would a Pisces or what would a Taurus do in certain situations, I have those written down on note cards. And I won't keep like exactly to everything that is stated on those note cards, because I don't think any person is actually like, yes, I am an Aquarius. Every single thing, tick, tick, tick. But I'll start off with that, and then I guess I do kind of do like, what would they be like in a group of people, like you said. Most of the time I have them like sinking to the back of the room in the corner, because that's me, and I find that the easiest to write. But with the novella that I sent you, I tried to differ from that with the main female character, but the main male character is like for sure that person.
Okay.
Like, he did homeschooling to get away from people.
Yeah. That'll work.
He lives in a town that has like less than 1,000 people.
Oh, I love that.
Because we live in Maine, so.
Yeah. Most of the towns are less than 1,000 people.
I mean, so the town that I live in has over 10.
10 people? Wow.
10,000. That's over 10,000 people, which is like pretty large for Maine.
For Maine?
But I'm in southern Maine. The story takes place in like middle Maine, where there are like no people. It's just forest. You have to drive like 30 minutes, like north, south, east, west to get to a town.
Oh, wow. Wow. Bet they grow a lot of their own food.
Yes. A lot of potato farms.
Ain't got no choice.
There are so many potato farms up north.
Potatoes are actually pretty simple to grow.
Yeah.
They're a good, hearty freaking vegetable. That's why the potato famine was so devastating. It's like, how? How did you kill our potatoes? They don't die.
When did this happen? I don't remember.
The potato famine? Oh, Lord. It was a long time ago, but it was in Ireland. The Irish potato famine. Irish.
I was like, Maine did not have a potato shortage.
Oh, certainly not. Irish potato famine. I honestly, I want to say a year, but I know it's wrong. Oh, it was only off by 10 years? Dang it. 1845 to 1849 was the Great Potato Famine. I was going to say 1850 to like 1860. Nah. But yeah, big old potato famine.
I have one more question before we jump into another sprint.
Sure.
This is a very talky live stream, and I enjoy that.
I love talking, so clearly.
Is there a specific book that you read as a kid that made you want to become a writer?
Yes. Give me a second. I have returned. Okay. So, you remember the Scholastic book fairs?
Yes.
So
even in small town Maine, we had those.
So, I was never I didn't ever have enough money to really buy books, but one year I was able to buy one, and I saw this book. Had no idea what it was about. Didn't pick it up, didn't read it or anything like that. I just read the back cover. This Scholastic Book Fair, my homeschool co-op, they raised enough money to host one.
Mm-hmm.
And they hosted it at the local library. And they had this book. It's called Adeline Falling Star. It's by Mary Pope Osborne. And I will read the back. It says, after her mother dies, 11-year-old Adeline is sent to live in St. Louis while her father, the famous scout Kit Carson, explores the West. Because of her mixed heritage, Adeline is shunned by her relatives, but she suffers in silence while waiting for her father's return. When Adeline realizes she may have been abandoned, she decides to find her own way back to her mother's people, where she is sure her father will find her. With the company of a stray dog, Adeline sets out on a journey that will either save her life or end it. The themes in this book are incredibly dark. I, in fact, picked this book up. I think I picked it up the year it was published. Is that right? Yeah. So it was published in 2000. I picked it up in 2001, which means I was the same age as Adeline, right? So this is a book that I've had since the year 2001. And I really related to Adeline and her struggle, and I wanted to tell stories like this. Maybe not necessarily for 11-year-olds or for middle grade readers, but for maybe making it adult or whatever. Just something so simple, so small, that was so impactful to me. I wanted to write a book like this. I wanted a little girl to pick this up and feel just like I did when I read it. And so there's that one. You'll notice a theme here too. Most of the two books that I picked up are small. This book, let me see if it still has this. Does this have the stamp in it? I don't think it does. No, it does. It does. Okay. I stole this. I stole this. I read this in middle school. This is Night by Elie Wiesel. It is a novel about Jews during the Holocaust. It is incredibly, incredibly dark. I am so shocked that my class was allowed to read it. And yeah, this is a stamp I was looking for. It still has my middle school stamp in it. So you know that it came from my middle school. And it also still has the number of copies that there were, considering I stole it. And this novel, there are lines in this novel that I still remember. The reason that I took this one in particular is because they were going to throw it away because it has a ripped page right here. But this page also has my middle school stamp on it. So I've had this book since I was 13. I read this in 7th grade. Yes! I read this in my advanced reading class, and we did an entire section on the Holocaust. I later purchased a hardcover of this book. It's an anniversary version. I don't remember which anniversary. But yes, I've read this book multiple times. And it's sort of similar in the idea that it follows a younger person through a very solitary, very lonely struggle. I'm an only child, and I feel...
I wish.
I had a very solitary life. I was very much like a latchkey kid. And it wasn't like an easy childhood. I didn't have an easy childhood at all. And so reading about other young people struggling and then triumphing through that struggle really inspired me. And this is a... Oh, I see little meow meows.
She's meowing over in the corner.
I can see her little mouth moving. She's so cute.
She doesn't come to you yet, unless you're laying down.
Yeah, she's just like, come to me and love me. Oh, she's thinking about it.
I think she might need to use the litter box. Hold on one second.
Yeah, okay. So whilst Sam is away, I will continue to talk about this book. Night by Elie Wiesel, though the account has come into question a bit, is, as far as we know, a true account of a young man who went through Nazi occupation, and he and his family were in death camp. And, excuse me, a concentration camp, I think is the correct term. And in this book, Ellie is confined to this solitary, sad, lonely existence, though he's surrounded by people. And Adeline goes on an adventure to try and find people who will love her. And I think that really influences my writing. The more I think about it now as well. My 1-year novel project is about a girl who gets lost in the woods. So.
It just wanted love.
Oh, so cute.
It's so
I would
tiny.
love you. I would love you, but you're in Maine.
That'd be a long drive.
Yes, it would. Well, maybe not that long.
It'd be quite a while.
Now I'm curious. Hold on.
It'd be like a full 24-hour drive.
Where are you filling this at?
Not that long. It's 16 hours. About as long as it takes to get to New York State from Tennessee.
Oh.
I've made that drive before, so.
I've made the drive down to North Carolina.
Oof.
We went to Myrtle Beach for my cousin's bachelorette extravaganza for a week.
How was that?
Back in 2016. I was 18 at the time.
Oh, well.
And I was getting into the bars without being ID'd.
Yeah, that sounds like
I didn't drink anything.
Beach.
I did not drink until a day after I turned 21.
But you were present at the bars.
I was. And the women that were older than me were getting carded. And I was not.
Okay.
It just keeps meowing.
I think she just wants cuddles.
Yeah. Meow.
Oh no, buddy.
Onto the desk she came.
Yep.
For me, the first book that I ever actually read was The Root Cellar by Janet Lunn.
Oh.
I read it in 6th grade. I'm sorry. She doesn't want to let go of my arm. I read it in 6th grade because my teacher found out that I had never read one of the required reading books.
Oops.
Because I posted this on my channel, but I hated reading as a kid. Absolutely despised all form of reading. I was in this thing called Spire, which is a reading course for people that had a lower Lexile. And I didn't really. I just didn't want to read.
You just didn't like it. Yeah.
So I had to read The Root Cellar. I didn't like it at the time. Now I actually do. I've read it twice since 6th grade. But it follows this girl that lives in, at this point it was the current time, which was 1970.
Mm-hmm.
And she travels back to the early 1900s.
Ooh,
from this root cellar. And she has to try and figure out how to get back.
Okay. I love a good time travel story. Heck yeah.
Yeah. I told my teacher that I wanted something that held my interest.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to find something that was in my Lexile. And that's what she gave me. And then I ended up reading Z for Zachariah. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
I have heard of it. I don't believe I've read it.
It's about an apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about this 13, 14-year-old girl that lives completely by herself now because the apocalypse took her family.
Oh, wow.
And this guy that's testing the waters around where she lives ends up getting sick and she has to care for him, but he ends up being really shady.
Well,
but those were the first 2 books that I actually like fully read from page 1 to the end. But the book that got me into writing was The Hollow by Jessica Verde.
Let me look at the cover. And
no one ever has heard of it. It's not a popular YA paranormal book. But I bought it for like $1 my freshman year of high school. And that triggered my love for reading and writing. Before high school, I would write fan fictions because I wanted to like continue series that had been finished on TV. Like The 9 Lives of Chloe King or The Winx Club.
That's cute. I love that.
I wanted to continue them. So I did. Not well, but I did it. But The Hollow, the way that the 2 main characters were written and the love story that's in there was a slow burn, kind of. It's weird because I can't say anything without actually spoiling.
How old is the book?
Came out in mid-2000s.
Spoiler alert for an over 10-year-old book. All right, go ahead.
So Abby is the main character. She's like 16. Her best friend just died. Caspian is the main love interest. And the best way that I can explain him is Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Okay.
She meets him down by a river where her friend died. And they don't touch until this one day when he goes to the library with her and they kiss, and then he never touches her again after that because he's a ghost and he can only touch people on his death day.
Oh my god. My heart!
So it's like a slow burn, but it's not. But she's the only one that can see him, so everyone thinks she's gone insane.
So you just make out on his death day? Like, it's your anniversary, babe.
It's one single kiss. She doesn't know that he's a ghost.
Well, I mean, look. She doesn't have to know, but it's like every time it's his death day, he shows up and he's like, hey, want to make out again?
Because I think there's 2 death days over the course of the 3 books. And the first one is at the library, and then the second one is in the 3rd book. And obviously that's 2 years of them together.
Yeah.
But in the 2nd book, she's like, he's not real. This isn't a thing. I made him up. And then he shows up again, and she's like, what happened? I was free of you. It's because you went back to Sleepy Hollow, which is where they live. Because the Hollow, Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
I might have ruined the entire series for you, but you should still read it.
No, probably not. It doesn't matter if I know what happens or not.
The main character, her interest, like, is perfumes. Like, she creates her own perfumes.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
Interesting as a 14-year-old.
It's such an interesting, like, hobby. Like when you give your characters a hobby, like making it interesting, like making something that your reader can learn about. That's so cool. I love that.
So she makes perfumes for every single person in the book for like how they smell or what kind of smell comes to mind for her. And Caspian's like gingerbread cookies and pine.
Ooh. That's interesting. That's an interesting smell combination, honestly.
Because she makes cookies for him every time she goes to see him, but he never actually eats them because he can't.
He's a ghost! He can't digest anything because he has no functioning organs.
But I just always think of Casper the Friendly Ghost when I read him, because his name is Caspian.
Yeah.
Casper.
I used to be obsessed with the name Caspian. I'm not going to lie. Caspian and Cassian. Yeah. I don't know what about those two names. I just love those
trilogy
names.
Or series.
Oh, maybe. I haven't read all of them.
I've read the first two.
I've read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and The Last Unicorn. So the first and the last one.
I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian.
I'm trying to remember the name of these books. They're by Amelia Atwater Rhodes. She was like the youngest person I had ever heard of who ever published anything. She published these books. I don't remember the name of the series. I'm going to her Wikipedia now. One of the books was called Hawk Song.
Okay, I already found it from 2008.
The Kishara series, Den of Shadows, all of that stuff. And they were some of the first books that I ever like pulled out from the library, like that I went home with. Because usually what would happen is my mom would take me to the library and I would find a couple of books and she would research about gardening or something like that. Because my parents are preppers. Like I was raised by preppers.
Okay.
Like doomsday style. So she would always go to the library.
She's ready for this.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's not having a problem. She's like, this is fine. So she would go and she would do a whole bunch of research on like land in the area, like waters, like just she knows legitimately everything there is to know about surviving in the wilderness. And I would go off to some random section and I would pick up a book or something and just read it. And I would read the entire book while I was there. And Amelia Atwater Rhodes is the author that got me into writing. Okay. So I was thinking about it. She was so young when she published her first book. I think she was in her teens, like early teens, like younger than Christopher Paolini. And like reading that as like a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, I was so into it. I was like, I want to do this. Like I read her books and I was like, I love this book. And it's like, she's my age and she's smart enough and she's capable enough and she's talented enough. She can do it. And in my mind from that day on, every time I'm like, man, I'm really tired. I can't do it. Maybe I'm not talented enough. I think about Amelia Atwater Rhodes.
Yeah, for the author that got me into writing, I always think of Jessica Verde. And then there's one other one, Kirsten White. She wrote Paranormalcy.
Yes.
And she has this new one that's like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer spinoff. I think it's called The Slayer. But I read the Hollow trilogy and
I Darken. That's what I know her from.
I have that on my shelf as well. And I read the Hollow trilogy and the Paranormalcy trilogy like one after the other because I had bought the two first books in the series for like $1 at some random store up in Augusta, Maine, which was a really long drive for us. And we just walked past the bookstore and they had them on carts. They were used copies. And I was like, those look interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to get into reading at that point. But I still hadn't found a book that I was like really dedicated to that I wanted to finish. And The Hollow was the first one.
I'm going to make a confession. Do you want to know what book series I've never finished? Harry Potter.
Same.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just couldn't do it. But do you know what books I have finished? All of Amelia Atwater Rhodes.
So I'm on one. The fourth book, The Goblet of Fire.
I like that one.
Year.
I like that one. I think the next one is The Order of the Phoenix. The next one's The Order of the Phoenix, isn't it? Is that right? Because it's Sorcerer's Stone.
Yes.
Azkaban. Nope. Chamber of Secrets, Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and then something else. I don't even know what. Yep, there you go. Thank you, dear. They know.
Yeah, I'm halfway through the Goblet of Fire because I'm at the end of the Quidditch Cup.
Oh, yeah.
And that just took so long in the book.
Exactly, like, yeah. Mm-hmm, I agree.
Like, that's way too much information. In the movie, they have, 10, 15 minutes of the movie dedicated to it?
Yeah.
And that's it. And I was expecting it to, be fast-paced.
To, move at a clip, right? Because usually what a movie will do is if it takes a scene, it will extend that scene. But in the book, it's everything is extended. Everything.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Which is why I can't seem to get into it. Because it's partially the fact that you know what happens. So there's not the suspense of, what's going to happen? You already know.
Yeah. Poor Robert Pattinson.
I think he's the homeliest guy.
I love this.
He doesn't even hold a candle to Daniel Sharman. I know so many people love him, but I don't know. It's the really gummy grin, and for some reason his jawline freaks me out.
That's the first time I've ever heard somebody say his jawline freaks me out. Who is he? The Crimson Chin? You ever laugh so hard your cheeks just immediately hurt?
Yes. I was immediately Team Jacob when I watched the movies just because I hated Robert Pattinson.
Oh no! Poor Rob!
And he wasn't any better in Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, well, he died, so.
When I watched the movie, I was like, I can get behind that.
Oh no! Poor thing!
I think if anyone else had played that character, I wouldn't have,
just reacted so viscerally. That Cedric Diggory boy! He's gotta go!
Yeah.
His jaw scares me.
I'm loving him in the Goblet of Fire. That's the only reason why I want to pick it back up again is because in the book,
his character is really good. Yeah.
But in the movie, Rob, I just can't.
His music is really good. I like his music.
He does music?
Mm-hmm. He has a few songs in the Twilight soundtrack. Yep. He doesn't sound a thing like himself. Like what you would expect, he doesn't. Have you ever heard of Tom Waits? The singer Tom Waits?
No.
He has this really gravelly, nearly unintelligible style of singing.
Okay.
It's very Southern Gothic, I think is the style that it's called. So it's you're like, is this country music? But then you're like, well, this doesn't sound like dogs and trucks and beers and loose women. What is this? But it's really dark themed, soulful type sound, and that's one of my favorite genres of music. And so
I'm trying to find more darker music for the soundtrack that I have for the paranormal book, because so my main character is very girl power. She's not shy, she's outgoing, she knows she's attractive, she's not Bella.
Poor Bella. Why you gotta clown Bella like that?
She just knows that she's hot stuff. So I have like quite a few girl power songs in my soundtrack, but I don't have that many like deep and dark ones.
Like moody.
Yeah.
You need some broody, moody songs. Some good old early thousands, early mid thousands, angsty teen boy songs. It's like we're looking at you, Four. We're looking at you, Harry. We're looking at you, Edward. Christian Grey, come on, get in there.
I listened to the audiobooks for that series.
Oh, yeah.
For 50 Shades of Grey. Hey.
I just want Gilbert Gottfried to read all of it because that was brilliant. That little clip that he did, oh my gosh. So funny. My inner goddess! That sounded more like Toad, but like, same though.
My favorite voice to do, this might be after your time, but did you ever watch Barbie Fairytopia? I
have seen it, yeah.
So there's this little character named Bibble, and he's like the blue puffball.
Okay.
A little perf. Oh my god.
He's like a high-pitched Stitch. We love it.
And I used to do that back in school, and people would just like stare at me.
It's like you smush Stitch and Elmo together. Oh, all three. You can make a trifecta, a triforce of Stitch, Gollum, and Elmo. And you get a little blue poof.
Elmo's World.
Mm-hmm. Every time I hear Elmo's World, I think about Kermit the Frog, which is so stupid because it's Elmo's World.
Why?
I don't know, because I think of the voice. Like, the voice of Kermit is, like, just emblazoned in my head. Anytime any character from Sesame Street is mentioned, Kermit, and then that character pops up. Like, even if you say Miss Piggy, I'm like, oh, Kermit, Miss Piggy. It's not easy being green. Kermit the Frog here.
That's a great impression.
Thank you.
Oh, my friend Lydia is currently like giving me feedback on the novella, and there's one joke that Reed does in the story that she's just like, I love it.
Ooh, man, now I really want to read this. It's only 69 nice pages, so I'll probably get through it today.
For me, it takes a while to read through it because, like, I want every sentence to be nice, but it's only the second draft. So yeah. I have to like force myself to move on.
Which is good. You need to like take a break from looking at it, and then once you get all of the beta feedback, it'll be so much easier for you to like fresh eyes reassess everything that's in it.
That's why on Monday I was like, I'm going to finish it tonight.
You're like, it's happening.
Get this ish done. Because I needed to not be working on it anymore. Because I started the second draft back in February. That's long.
That's a long time. Yeah.
For a novella. Like
to be like stuck on that second draft.
Because I added 10,000 words, so that is quite a bit. But since February?
Yeah. One of my cats decided to come and say hello, so
I had to close my door because I didn't want the baby to get hurt.
Oh, yeah. Both my cats are old boys now, so.
Callie and Tiger are both pretty old. We got them like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
But Butternut, Gracie, and Cookie are all still pretty young. Like Butternut's only like 5 or 6. And then Cookie and Gracie are under 3.
Oh, littles.
Yeah, Gracie we got last year in August. And then Cookie we got the year before in August.
Yeah, Fu, who's the one who's saying hello to me, is 8 now. And then his dad, like his biological dad, we have him. And he's 10. So they're starting to get into the elder range.
I had a cat named Boots that passed away last year. But she made it for 17 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because
that's amazing.
We got her the first year that we moved to Maine, and I was 4. Yeah, like 17-ish years.
Wow. Yeah, my oldest cat, Ash, she died in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she died in 2018, and that was the year that she turned 13. But she had like a kidney disease, like renal failure, since she was like 7. So she lasted with like a really serious condition for a long time, for 6 years. And she was just like playing, doing whatever, like up until the very last month when she was like, yeah, I'm really tired. My joints hurt at the same time as all of this other stuff. Yeah, so like she was kicking for a long time.
Yeah. Boots had a stroke in the middle of the night, and my mom and I woke up to her just lying on the floor.
Oh, poor thing.
And she was still like aware of everything. She was like barely meowing, but she couldn't move.
Yeah.
So I called out of work that day and we brought her to the vet.
Yep.
Because we knew that it was coming because she was getting really, really, really skinny.
Yeah. And it's always like, you can always tell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just getting ready for work. I had walked past her like probably 2 times, not even noticing, because her meows were just so small.
Yeah. Yep. My oldest pet that I've ever had, he was older than me. Like, we found him when I was, we had just moved to the new house. So we found him when I was 7 and he was already 8. Like,
wow.
And he was like wandering around the neighborhood, and he walked up to my mom. My mom was feeling ill that day and didn't want to go. I think we were going to church or something. And like my mom was feeling sick, and so she stayed home, and then this dog was just on the porch being like, yo, what's up? I'm yours. And she was like, I think this dog is mine, and then opened the door, and he walked right in, like, and he never left. And he died when I was 2013. Yeah 2013 is when he died. Yes, okay, I had to get the numbers correct. So he was 24.
Wow.
And I was 23. Yeah, he's an old ass dog.
2013. I was 15.
Oh my god, you child.
Because I started high school in 2012. So it was either 15 or 16.
Yeah, you would have been, this is so stupid. You would have been 15 because Jungkook debuted when he was 16. And now that you've told me that, I will never forget your age relative to Jungkook.
Yep. I love Jungkook. Love him. I named a cat after him.
JK!
I have my cat Cookie.
That's so cute.
She's all black with white fur puffing out of
Oh
her
my
ears.
gosh. Adorable.
My cousin calls her Dumbledore,
Okay.
but it's Cookie with a K.
Mm-hmm. With a K. Has to be with a K.
Well, we should wrap this up because this is already.
Oh, now we're just talking.
Which is fine. 2 sprints and then we're done.
Yeah, well, most of it was an interview, which I found very fun. It made me feel like a real author. Like, that was very cool. Oh, why doesn't Sam want to drive in the snow?
Okay, so I got my license back in November.
Of this year? Or of last year?
Of last year. Yeah.
Listen, 2020 has been really long. I don't know what's happening anymore.
I got my license in November of 2019. I know, I'm 22. Like, it's.
I didn't get my license until I was 19, so it's fine.
I had a permit from 17 to 19, and then it expired because it's only valid for 2 years. And I didn't retake that test until I turned 21. And then I just didn't take my road test. Like, I did not want to drive. I hate driving for good reason. But a week to the day after I got my license, there was a really big snowstorm. And I have to drive like 30 minutes to get to my work. Now that I work from home, I don't have to do that. But at that point, I was still training. And we have this big rotary or roundabout or traffic circle, whatever you people call that.
Yes.
In the area.
I like the term rotary. That's cool.
You don't have that? You don't have.
They don't call it a rotary.
Is it a traffic circle?
I have heard traffic circle and I've heard roundabout, but I'd never heard rotary before, so I'll add that to my lexicon.
That is the proper term for it. Like, if you were to look up rotary, that is what, like, the definition of.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because rotary phone is a circle.
Yeah. So we just call it a rotary up here, but it's huge. Like, it's a really big one. And I was going around and I was like, this is too much snow. I'm not going to do it. So I missed the exit to go to work because I'm going to just swing back home.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm doing that, right after I missed my exit, I start spinning.
Oh, God, no!
And I've had my license for all of a week when this happened. And I had bought the car like 3 weeks before that.
Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no.
And so on the edge of this rotary, there's a 6-foot ditch with a stream. And here's the ditch. My car, it lands level inside. It's not like nose in or back end in. It's just like completely level.
Oh, no.
My car made it out okay. It has a few more tweaks than it did before.
Well, you know.
I have to get a new one at the end of June anyway. I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was going to last me at least a year. It's not. I have to get a new one already. But yeah, that's what happened a week into me having a license during the middle of a snowstorm.
Well.
Ended up in a 6-foot ditch.
Well, dang. All right, then. The more you know. I don't drive in the snow because I'm Southern and I never knew what snow was until I got here.
Poor soul.
I mean, that's not true. My dad's from Wisconsin, but like, he drives in the snow.
Yeah, my mom tried to drive me in the snow from that day on, but she works down in Boston. Not right now because of quarantine, but she did, and she couldn't exactly drive me to work during a storm.
Right.
When she was already down in Boston by 7 a.m.
Dang.
So I don't like
Public
driving
transit?
in the snow, but we don't have that kind of stuff up here.
Oh, yeah. It's like 10,000 people in your town.
We have a bus system that runs 2 towns over.
Okay.
But it doesn't come into our town.
Okay. How did people escape?
They don't.
Oh, shit.
If you don't have a car, you either have friends that have a car or you're home.
I mean, quarantine is probably going real well for everybody down there, though, because they're used to it.
Yeah.
There's like, oh,
we have a lot of old people. This is the vacation state.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a lot of lakes and a really pretty ocean. And we have this town called Bar Harbor, which is featured in that novella that I gave you. It's like the main tourist attraction of Maine.
Okay.
And
the only thing I know about Maine is clam chowder and lobster.
Yes. You can get that in the winter, although it's very, very pricey.
And
we don't have that many lighthouses.
I don't know why I was about to say lighthouses, because I was thinking about the movie Lighthouse. The rocks. I've seen pictures of the rocks
cliffs. Yeah.
And it looks like Scotland. It's like craggy rocks, like dark craggy rocks. So, and that looks like Scotland.
In Bar Harbor, there's this place called Acadia National Park, not to be confused with Arcadia over in California. Acadia is really, really pretty, and it's a huge mountain range. So that's where you're getting the pictures of the rocks on the ocean and everything.
Yeah. I just remember my first exposure to Maine, besides Stephen King, was
which I drove past his house before.
Oh yeah, that's like a big thing, right? Yeah. A lot of people.
There's a Stephen King tour.
Oh, interesting. I just remember after Stephen King exposure, it was just this photo that was taken at night, or close to night. There was just a little bit of light left, and it was just these beautiful craggy rocks with water lapping up on them, and it looked just like a photo that I had seen of cliffs in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to cliffs in Scotland, and I was like, that's so interesting. That the geography looked so similar.
Yeah.
Random things that stick with you from Maine. Rocks.
Because we do have a lighthouse. I think it's the Wood Island one that you're probably thinking of.
Maybe.
Because we have the Portsmouth one, and then we have the Wood Island.
Yeah, that's the exact one I'm thinking about. You're right.
I visited the Wood Island one a lot.
Yeah, the one I'm thinking about is the Wood Island one.
That's the most iconic one for me.
Yep.
The Whaleback one is pretty iconic for school kids. Schools will take trips over to that one all the time. Then the Portsmouth Harbor. That's in New Hampshire, but some schools will take you down there as well.
It's a very, very pretty state.
We're called the Pine Tree State and Vacation Land. I'm allergic to pine trees, and I wish people that vacationed here didn't.
Yeah, I can imagine.
People don't think of Maine as very touristy, but it's very touristy. We have gift shops and little trinket stores where you can buy Maine on a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can imagine though, it's small, it's quaint, people like that. If they want a vacation and they can't go to Cape Cod, they're gonna be like, oh, well, we're gonna go to Maine.
Yeah,
like
I bet if you were to think of like a stereotypical cabin on the lake,
mm-hmm.
you could pick a picture from Google Images from Maine.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we vacation on Sebago Lake. That's one of the biggest lakes in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost every summer with the entire family.
Wow.
It's a lot. But it's very pretty. Being out on Sebago Lake is the best breathing I've ever had. Because I can't smell the pine trees out there.
That must suck, being allergic to pine trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm from Tennessee, which is one of the highest allergy like capitals.
Really?
In the United States. So breathability is very, very compromised if you have any allergies at all. And my spouse is allergic to everything.
Same.
So breathing in our house, not an option. Usually it's like if we open the windows, dead. If we close the windows, dead. Like
I understand that pain.
Yeah.
I happen to live in a house that's not surrounded by pine trees in the pine tree state. So I'm like, yes, thank you.
Wow, I lucked out.
Like I can walk outside and somewhat breathe properly.
I'm going to say my outro.
Yes, good.
Okay.
Go.
Thank you guys so much for joining on Sam's channel. It has been great. My name is Austin Kaye. I'm from the channel Austin Kaye and currently in the middle of my one-year novel project for So Tall the Trees. I do a live stream every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a great time over there. We chill, we drink hot beverages and maybe alcohol, and then we write, and it's awesome. And that's what I do.
Thank you so much for joining today. I do really appreciate you being on my first stream.
It was legit, like, really fun. I can just talk forever, so
maybe I'll do like some talking streams amidst my writing sprints.
Yeah, I've been thinking about incorporating some more like interview streams.
Yeah,
like interspersed with the writing ones, so I can get all that talking out. Honestly, that's why I don't usually have any guests on my stream, because I would get no work done. I would just talk to them the whole time.
I understand now. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you happen to be here in the video that's just posted on YouTube, because no one was here otherwise, I do hope that you would like, subscribe, and ring the dingy bell for my channel if you want to be notified when I post a new video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.